Should you argue and win your point? Should you be quiet and acquiesce? How do you get your needs met and retain your friendships and your harmony in your family? We've gone through the ringers through the pandemic. All too often, people were divided between what was right and what was wrong. Who do you believe? Which argument was true out there? Which was fake news and which was the right news? And seemingly everybody took sides, and we almost thought everybody must be right, except, of course, the other one. How do we survive our arguments, maintain our friendships, especially now coming up in the season of festivities, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but anytime during the year? How do we have relationships where we express what is dear and important to us, get our needs met, and yet retain the harmony and respect that we all seek and need? Let me get into sharing with you some vital tips as to how to have a positive argument to where both sides win, and some of the pitfalls that you can avoid in order to maintain the harmony with a friend or a family member that you would like to see in the long run. Let me be honest. How often do you find yourself thinking that you're the one who's right and the other one is wrong? Maybe I'm the only one, but my God, I know that feeling. Oh my God, I can think rings around anybody. I was able to think out an argument 3 times ahead of the speed of the other person when I was 15. Did it make me friends? Maybe not. Did it get me what I wanted? Maybe not. Does it help to be right? Well, sometimes it is necessary. Let's take an example where it is vital. In a relationship, in a family or partnership, or even a business relationship, both sides have needs. Both sides need the other one to listen to us and respond to our needs. It's a very human need and very necessary to be able to collaborate. Now, if only one side insists on saying their needs and the other one is expected to listen, that will not go on too long. Nobody always wants to be the one giving in, and nobody wants to have a dictator as a boss or a friend or a family member. There are those people who always wish to be right, and no matter what we can do, how well we listen and attend to their needs, they've got to be on top. Forgive all the Leos, they have it written into their stars, but we all need to have a win win solution. So let me give you tips of how you can arrive at a win win solution. First off, let me describe to you planet Earth. We have currently 8 billion people. Can you imagine that all 8 billion people have one opinion on the same thing? Should all 8 people have the same opinion? Should all 8 people hate or like the same thing? Do you think that would be a good survival strategy for life? Should there only be one kind of tree, one animal, one food, one fruit, one color flower? I think you see where I'm going. Variety and diversity ensures the survival of our species. Just think, if only one flower existed and some kind of fungus came along and ate it up, it would be gone. However, the variety, the tenacity of some flowers and the softness of others ensures that the entire ecosystem works together as a whole. As humans, we are much the same. Nature ensures that we have all kinds of people, the strong ones, the leaders, the followers, and everything in between, depending on your soul evolution. Every opinion, every ability of you to see or not see the future depends on your ability of your soul's consciousness and evolution. And there will be some that are further along than you, and there will be some who are less further along than you. We all need everybody. I like to say that we are like the carpet as humans. There are many colors and many threads that make up the entire carpet. It's not just the cotton thread or the silk thread or the color red that make a beautiful carpet. It is the combination of all things combined. And yes, even in a family, we uh, give each other a complementary composition. There are those that are strong, the leaders, the followers, the ones who are gnarly, and somehow they fit in with who we are. And even you can see in the offsprings how the same constellations, even similar birth times or star signs, accumulate in one family. So, if you agree with me, possibly that we need diversity to survive, we can come to a basic appreciation of differences. If you can come in your own honest heart to the understanding that you honor the fact that everybody is different, even if they're 180 degrees out of phase with you, they are needed to make the whole world work. Lest we would have one pink soup all over the planet, the same status of evolution, and no school, nobody teaching, nobody learning. Wouldn't it be great? But I prefer to learn and grow. So let's assume that a beautiful, colorful carpet, a world full of different flowers, different fruits, and different plants and animals and humans is a vibrant planet that ensures survival. Then we start on the same first most important page. We need diversity to survive. If in your heart of hearts you can look at the neighbor who does the impossible and you go and think that could have been me 10 lifetimes ago, that too is needed to live on this planet to make sure that who knows what happens, we will have survival covered of our species, God willing. Now, if we have diversity, then that means we have to learn to be a little bit more forgiving of the differences. Yes, it's difficult, but what is most important to you in your relationships? And usually there are two things. One, we want to see eye to eye. So we cannot do that with the entire world. Keep your friends that you wish to see eye to eye with close to you. But even in the best of friendships, we have divergent personas, personalities, styles, and ways of handling things, even thoughts about the same subject. Next, in relationship, the number two thing that we all need is to feel heard, seen, and we need to feel that our needs matter. Yes, you need something that may be the basics: food, love, sex, understanding, respect, care, um, honor, and the other one does too. So both of us have needs. Now, how do we get our needs met? My husband and I discovered the methods that were famously developed by Marshall Rosenberg, who's now gone, and he called it the nonviolent communication technique. He even went into war zones, into where back then the Israelis and the Palestinians were fighting, and he got the two sides to express their needs in the following manner. And this has helped my husband and myself to reduce our arguments by 80%. This is what we do. You express your needs. Now, only one of you can go. The one who shares, shares. The other one listens. Now, Marshall Rosenberg gave a great technique. He said, take on giraffe ears. Giraffes are land mammals that have the biggest heart on earth, and they have to bend down to drink. Very humble. So put on giraffe ears instead of the ears of a jackal that goes like, I'm going to snap at you any minute now. Listen, all of us appreciate to be listened to, not just to have the next argument ready to fight, but to actually put on the shoes of the other for a moment. You might learn something you didn't know. The Indians always said, you cannot argue anybody unless you've walked in their shoes. Now, I try to remember that. And sometimes when I'm good, I put myself into those shoes and I think, okay, there is maybe value in this. What could it be? I could learn something. And the best of people who win arguments are the ones who can give the counter argument to themselves from the opponent's perspective. So unless you grok them, you don't even know what might be good about them. Now, in a relationship, you want to find out what the other person's needs are. And if you listen, you give the first important transmission, which is, I honor you. Now, it takes two turns, so you have to practice and request that the other one also listens to you. At first, it was very difficult for my husband and myself. We would go like, no, me first, no, no, no. And we agreed. I think it's Meg Ryan at one of the movies said, only one of us can flip out at a time. Rule number one, if anybody gets emotional, which can happen in relationships, only one of you can flip out. So please step back, put yourself on hold, and say, they might need it more. But be sure to take turns because nobody can always flip out all the time more than the other. You have to take turns. Once you decided, I will hold my mouth right now and I will listen. Oh, you need that feedback, what you hear. Tell them in their own words what you just heard. My husband is excellent at that. Even when we're sitting with people who are very intelligent and have great ideas, my mind would come in, but, and I hear him modeling, reflecting what they just said. Oh my God, I adore it. He is the king of hearts in many ways in the cards of decks, and I have a different temperament. However, I learn from those moments. So it's like, I hear you. So, for example, in the book of Marshall Rosenberg's, he gives an example I remember until today. Husband and wife. Every time you cook pancakes, I think you're going to try and kill me. Oh my God, that would be enough to make anybody go off the rocker. Stop. Listen. Oh my God. Okay. So every time I cook it, you feel like I want to kill you? Yes, because you smother everything with oil. That's why. Not that I really want to, it's just I give too much oil. Got it. So I put too much oil in the pancakes. Yes. Like, I mean, where is this going to go if I eat this kind of oil? It's terrible. Maybe this person hasn't learned how to deliver. I would prefer if you use less oil, my dear. Is that possible, drip? But I can ask now, what is it? I reflect, oh, so you feel blah, blah, blah when I do blah, blah, blah. The feeling is what we want to feed back to them and whatever attached facts. I see. Okay. Now that I know what the problem is, I'm going to say, what would it need for you to feel better? The husband may say, well, just put, a few drops of oil. Shouldn't that be enough? Maybe you can buy one of those fancy ceramic coated pans that just need a drop of oil. What an idea. Eat more healthily. Maybe it's good for you too. See, we could learn from another person's needs, even if it's not packaged well, but we can be the superhero that listens, reflects back. Oh, okay. So you feel hurt, angry, mad, glad, sad, fear is what Marshall Rosenberg used to say. And then come back to their needs and a negotiation that can be factually completed. Not something like you need to listen more to me, more what? One sentence, two sentence, 1 hour, 2 hours. More needs to be defined. So less oil, more oil needs to be defined. So when you apply that solution, you were successful and the other one knows you did it. And you can celebrate the success of understanding each other. I tell you, this technique alone has cut down the argument time by 80% for both my husband and myself. Now, I will add a blog link for you below to read some of these techniques. Not all of them I can cover here, but let's just recuperate. Empathic listening is the number one technique to get the other person to calm down and to make them feel like they're valuable, like you hear them, because without understanding and empathy, we will go nowhere on this planet. Did you know that it was collaboration and cooperation that got us to survive this long? Even for the Neanderthals versus the Homo sapiens, who learned how to work together with dogs, the evolutionary superiority that human sapiens had over Neanderthals was their ability to collaborate with what could have been an enemy. So, empathic listening, understanding the other and the needs of the other, makes you able to give them what they need and negotiate for what they want, and gives you the leverage to negotiate for your needs. So both people get to take the turn to express their needs. Now, when you are at a Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, it is not necessarily about negotiating for my needs or anything like that. It may simply be about giving our family the respect of diversity. Is it okay that we have people who think 100% or 180-degree% out of phase with us? Because without them, and without our ancestors, who likely would have been even more different than you are now, we wouldn't be here. You ensure the survival because you take on this position. But we are not exclusively islands unto ourselves on this planet. We need each other, even though we're so different, because somebody needs to be able to make the asphalt on the street and pound it down. I could not do it. I probably would faint. The smell, the sound, everything would be too much for my nervous system. I can see, I can hear the mice think, I can see other dimensions. Perfect to help people in personal decision making or teaching them how to access higher states of consciousness. It is also needed, not the only need on this planet. So your gift and your capacity is one out of many that makes the kaleidoscope of humanity work, even in your family. So let's agree to disagree. And when my ex husband comes, who is 100%, 80% out of phase with some of my political and practical views, I say, look, we love each other. You are an amazing person. You have these needs and these amazing qualities. I have this perspective, you have that. Who knows who is right in the end? Maybe 100 years will go by, and that's when we can say, oh, this way or that way was possibly more true. Galileo was put uh, out of commission for saying that the center of the Earth, or the Earth, was not the center of our solar system, nor the galaxy. But eventually his argument proved true. But it took everybody to slowly change a huge understanding of how planet Earth and the solar system even fit into the general reality of planets. The mindset at the time was flatlander, and we cannot change our global point of view overnight, even in our families. So agree to disagree, honor everybody, and know that we grow together. And you find personal friends and make sure your needs get expressed in a way where you both honor each other's needs, listen to each other with empathy, because that is what our world needs. That's, remember, the dogs and the Homo sapiens made a pact together to survive together. And that gave us the growing edge. So let's be kind to everybody, not take immediate sides, and then choose and see how can we negotiate greater peace and greater evolution between all of us. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to subscribe. Remember to click on the blog below to read more techniques that you can employ in creating a successful communication, argument, or differences of opinion, to where it becomes fruitful in your personal life, in your family life, and even at work. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon again.